Hi, in this demo, I'm going to show you the top 3 basic exploration features we developed in GraphPolaris for gathering insights from graph databases and knowledge graphs in seconds, rather than typically hours or days. Welcome everybody, my name is Michael. I'm the CTO and co-founder of GraphPolaris. This is going to be the start of a series of episodes demoing the product features of our graph analytics platform. To set up the stage, in the last years we learned that the majority of the data analytics folks is hampered by super slow processes from questions to insights. So let's see what the problem actually is. We see that there are 3 typical problems. First of all, typically these people have no idea what kind of data is currently available at their disposal. Think about a data warehouse where you're browsing around what kind of data is actually really stored, or in the graph database where you're browsing around which entities actually exist. Then secondly, and this is the most prominent problem, is that it takes a very long time to gather actually all the data together to come up with an analysis question. And the third thing is, even if you have done all of these tedious processes of exploration and gathering the insights, you actually have no idea whether the results that are coming out of your analysis or your machine learning algorithm, etc., are really bringing you to actionable conclusions. In this episode, we are going to use fraud analytics to showcase how we can solve some of these pain points that I mentioned earlier. And we took that domain because it's the typical needle in a haystack problem. Typically, data analysts are going into fraud analytics with some kind of hunches, some kind of data hunches, some kind of hypothesis that they want to explore. But they are not one, there are many of those. And so the tedious process of going in there, finding the right data that solves the problem, the kind of analysis is what takes really long, and in GraphPolaris typically disappears. So if you're excited to dig in, go and head over to graphpolaris.com and see how we apply these features in our dataset right away so that you can transform your tedious and slow processes into easy and understandable visual exploration. Let's begin with problem number 1, how to connect to your first database and get first insights into the schema of the data. Let's head over to graphpolaris.com, which is the main website where we're presenting what this company is all about, and also the documentation that helps you to get started with your first insights. So let's try it now. If you open up the Explorer, you're going to be prompted to log in. Basically now you see the primary interface, which is empty. So let us select the database that we want to actually explore. So we select a database over here. You see already I have one database that I've looked into, which is financial fraud. After clicking on Add Database, you have the option to connect to your own data, which is living in the cloud or which is living on premise, or click on Try Sample Data. For this demo, we are going to select the fraud detection dataset in order to showcase some of the basic exploration features. When looking at the schema, we can see how we model our problem. First of all, you can notice that we have nodes and links. These would refer to tables and foreign key relationships and relational databases. We can see here, for example, that customers are filing complaints that are concerning certain transactions, that are making certain payment methods, or transactions that are shipping to physical addresses. If we wanted to see these kind of relationship strengths always, then we can enable that in the config panel. Since we are talking here about graph databases, one very important aspect are attributes. If we click on a customer, you can see that we are analyzing the attributes that this customer entity actually has. Let's go to transactions to make that more precise. Here we have even different data types, such as text for transaction IDs, but also categorical data, numerical data, etc., which becomes in handy later for picking the right visualization according to your data attribute. So how do we make use of this? Let's do something very simple. let's do an analysis of our customers. So when we are zooming into customers, the first thing that we're going to do is query building. So we take the customer and drag and drop it into the query panel. What is happening in the background is that we're translating your visual query into the code that is necessary for being executed at the graph database. And we also analyze the data that comes back in order to suggest the right visualization for your data analysis. This query contains a single node, no relationship, so that might be a table view. Let's dig into it. Well, we see here all the customers of the 236 that are at our disposals, and we can also see when they have created their account. So how do we get back to the attributes? Let's say we wanted to explore the customer names and we have one specific person that we're interested in. So let's put that in over here and search for somebody with the name Graham. We find only Jennifer Graham to match this query. Now let's do something more sophisticated and go for all the customers that have created their account in January 2025. This is a simple query showing all the customers that have created their account in January 2025. And we can build on this more complex query concepts. Let us investigate identity theft. So the first thing is, let's clean all of this up. Let us make a new query over here to store the old one. Typically a good practice to be taken. So let's say we wanted to have the customers again, but now we're taking in also the relationships. What is typical identity theft? If somebody is using your contact info. So what we can do over here is we can take all the relations that it is connected to from the schema. We know that customer has relation contact info, and take the contact info and put it into here. That looks like a jumble. So let's play around a little bit with also the settings over here to make this easier to read. The first thing is most of these people over here do actually have only one contact info. Let's jumble that up and do a different graph layout algorithm. This sounds to be interesting. We see a lot of them that have only one contact info over here. Customer relates to one contact info, but we see a few of them that are sticking out. These ones over here are interesting to look at. And this could be potentially an identity theft. So let's zoom into it. And since clicking is kind of tedious, what we can do is we can go into the visualization setting and say, we want to have actually customers called out by name. And the contact info is going to be the SSN, the social security number. So if we are doing this, we can zoom into all of this and we see that there is indeed something suspicious. Different people with different names are using the same social security number. That should not be like so. So let's go into the other one and see what's going on here. That's also interesting. There's one social security number, but all the people are ending actually in the name Pearson. That could be one of these things where the family is using the same account. When I'm looking at this is very cluttered. One of the features that GraphPolaris is enabling you to do is zoom in or filter out things on the fly. So let's filter out the items that are having less connections than one. In GraphPolaris, you can reduce visual clutter by filtering out by numbers of connections. So if we're doing this and we say greater than 2, for example, we could see that we've actually cleaned up this entire investigation to the 2 cases that are potentially interesting. Here, this one is the one that we would certainly like to investigate a little bit further. Why can different people actually use the same to probe in more and more data into this? How about we actually take customers, and not only the customers, but also their physical addresses? One thing that you've noticed, I didn't add actually the relation in between here, but this is something that we can auto-interpolate. Okay, physical addresses don't make sense in the node link diagram. So why not actually look at this in the map kind of view? That's also auto-suggested to us. We can do that because we are interpolating here actually longitude and latitude from the physical addresses that we have resolved from the database. And we see that the most of the physical addresses are from the States over here, and also from West Africa, and also from Russia. This is actually an interesting finding already. So let's see a choropleth map to see that much more structurally. We see that the biggest amount of nodes are coming from actually Russia and here, Jenny, in West Africa. So if we're zooming into this, this is actually very suspicious that many of these nodes that we have actually seen before here from the node link diagram, these ones are actually coming from Russia. And interesting enough, they are also at the same location here from the middle of Moscow. So that is already bringing me to the conclusion that this part of a scheme over here, where we are stealing one social security number and we are running then different names under that are anyways not looking really Turkish. They are much more random. They are actually identity theft claim, which we could act on very actively by just blocking the account, getting in contact with the customer who should be having this address. Most likely it's Dana Robinson, and cut off all the other ties over here to the ones that are coming from Russia. This breach is something that we can act on immediately. In this demo, I showed you GraphPolaris' basic exploration features and how we can employ them to turn fraud analytics from a slow manual process to a fast visual exploration. We connected to a fraud graph, inspected the schema, and built visual queries to explore customers and their attributes. We use graph layouts and on-the-fly filtering and a map view to reduce visual clutter and zoom in on suspicious identity theft patterns. Finally, we pinpointed a concrete fraud scheme around a single misused social security number and showed how these insights can directly drive actions like blocking accounts and protecting the real customer. You've just seen how GraphPolaris can turn fraud analytics from a needle in a haystack search to a clear visual investigation. If this walkthrough of GraphPolaris was helpful, stay tuned for the next feature deep dives and visit our website in the description to start exploring your own graph data today.